Hi guys. Hey, I wanted to make a little bee video for you guys, um, since you've shown interest in it, and I really appreciate that. So I wanted to do just a little brief synopsis of a removal I did yesterday, which was July 15th, over in Davis. It was at an apartment complex, and it was actually an open air colony, which is unusual because I've not run across many of those. I think I've done three open air colonies since I've started beekeeping. This one happened to be under a stairwell at an apartment complex, and the management called and asked if I would come remove them, since obviously not a good thing for residents to be walking past them every day. They were literally right above the head of people that as they're going up the stairwell. So it made total sense why they'd want them out of there. So the following is the removal. I'll just kind of talk through it because a lot of it I didn't do any talking over the sound of the vacuum going. But yeah, it was really interesting. It wasn't huge. I'm guessing it had probably been there for maybe a couple of months, based on the size of the colony. They weren't. It wasn't huge, but it wasn't super small either. So I have my cordless bee vac with me, which comes in really handy for doing these kind of removals. I don't have to take a generator along. And my other bee vac, which is basically the same size as a regular Langstroth hive, is just a bunch more stuff I have to haul, and this was on the second floor, so that was nice. So basically starting out, thinning out the numbers on the colony just by vacuuming them up. So I wasn't wearing any type of protection. They were pretty docile. This was about 8 o'clock in the morning, and they were starting to fly out and forage, but not a lot of activity so far. So a lot of them were still in the colony on the nest. So I could capture a lot of them, sucking them up with the bee vac. It's a special vac that doesn't harm the bees, as long as you have it set right, so it doesn't hurt them as it pulls them in. And it's nice because it's got a rheostat that you can speed up and slow down the amount of suction that you're using. And when I'm done, I just leave it on real low to ventilate the bees so they don't suffocate in there, and I can leave them in there for hours with the thing just running super slow, and it works great. I believe it's a guy down in Texas that makes them. Anyway, I've really been enjoying that. So as you can see, it's right above where the pool is. So they got to have water when they wanted to. So this is after I had already removed the first comb. You can see I'm just all that right there is capped brood, so it's baby bees that haven't hatched out. Everything is capped in there. They cap it over with wax, and then they pupate, and then they'll chew their way out of the cells. So I have to clear the bees away so I can see where the comb is attached, and then I can get a knife up in there and cut it away and release it. You can see you you can see how they attach it. They'll find strategic points to secure it so it won't fall, and it's actually the pretty amazing structures. But anyway, getting the bees cleared off of there. Just a side note, I still have not found the queen in this, but obviously there is one, because there's a lot of brood, and I just don't know where she is. So this is one of the combs after I cut it down. It's got a lot of brood on it. Tell me if you see the queen. Just shout it out, because I did not see her. So yeah, hopefully she's in there. Hopefully I don't know if I vacuumed her up or not, but I believe she's in there. Hopefully I didn't see any bees really left over, so we'll see. I don't know. So this is one of the pieces of comb. You can see the knife up there as I'm cutting it away, cutting through those anchor points, and just being careful to not cut too far, because I'm not holding anything at this point. I'm holding the phone to record it. So just gonna make sure they don't drop, because they would not be happy if that were to happen. So anyway, I think there's 2 more comb after this one here. Okay, so fast forward to about 6 o'clock that evening, and there's the bucket, or the bee vac. It's the everything bee vac, that I took the lid off. I shook a bunch of them onto that board there, and you can see that white box sitting there. That's a little nuke box, they call it. It only holds 5 frames, and inside of there is all the comb, or at least most of it, from that hive I removed. So when I cut it down, if it had brood on it, which most of it did, I rubber banded it into empty frames and put them in, and it had a whole bunch of bees on them too. So there was already a bunch of bees inside the box along with the brood. And so keep in mind, these are all sisters, so they recognize their smell, and they smell the brood that's inside of that box. So it took them a little while to figure out what was going on, because after this abrupt being slammed onto plywood, I did it probably 2 feet away from the opening of the box. So they're kind of disoriented, trying to figure out what they're supposed to do, but they're beginning to figure it out. You can see a lot of them standing still there. They don't know what to do. You can see some of them starting to gravitate towards the opening of the box. So you can see a little congregation there. Sorry about the finger. Right at the opening, there is an opening there. At least you can't see it, but they're kind of clogging it up. So, as you know, it takes several minutes, but after a while they start catching on, and you'll see them beginning to move at a little quicker clip, and you'll start getting a march going, and that's really fun to watch once they start understanding what it is they need to do and where they need to go. Now I want you to pay attention to the bees. You can see that they're just standing still. I'm going to zoom in on her. So the one I'm pointing at is just one of many. You can see them all standing there with their little heinies in the air. If you look close at the very end of their abdomen, right where I'm pointing, you'll see a little white spot, little kind of a mark. Once I get my finger out of the way, that is called a Nasonoff gland, and it actually puts off a pheromone that is used to basically communicate with their sisters, saying, hey, come this way, this is where our home is, this is where you need to come. and they use their wings. It's hard to tell in here, but they're all fanning their wings, and they're dispersing that pheromone around to communicate with their sisters, saying, hey, here's our new home, come this way. And they're direct, there you go, you can kind of see it a little bit better. If you know what lemongrass smells like, that's what this smells like. I can smell it. And when they're doing it a lot like this, it's pretty strong. So here's the bucket from the BVAC. As you can see, there's still a lot in there. Well, now they're starting to move. They're starting to figure it out. It's like, oh, okay, hey, we need to start following.
This is a new home.
See, you can see the cluster there at the opening of the box. It's getting pretty crowded now. So they're all starting to beeline it into the box.
I don't know where she is.
Again, they're being directed in there by their sisters to follow that pheromone, and you'll see them start. Start moving. They're marching that way, and that'll increase as time goes on. See some of them kind of starting to run because they're smelling it. So that's pretty much it. Just a few minutes later, they were pretty much all in the box. Fun stuff. I love it. So I wanted to show you my poor man's feeding system for the bees. So I've got this barrel. I think it's 35 gallons. So it's not, as big as I would like to get a 50-gallon metal bin, but this is food grade. So anyway, I found it in Sacramento and picked it up. So anyway, I've got the sugar syrup in there mixed up, and so the hose coming out of here goes in and clear to the bottom to pull it from, and it comes down and it goes into this little pump, and this is kind of like a marine pump, so it's, I don't know if you use it for bilges or what, but so I got it plumbed into that, and then got my 12 volt battery over here. Just use the alligator clips sitting there to hook up to, and then it goes down. This is I think this is a 50-foot garden hose, and it goes over into this is basically made for a diesel nozzle, so I've got it plumbed into that so I can just haul this over to where the hives are. And so I've got the pallets out here, and not all of them have the feeders in them yet. I've been using internal feeders, helps keep the robbing down. So anyway, this way I don't have to haul buckets or whatever of the feed around to each one of these hives, and the more hives I get, the more work that's going to be. So I figured I would make it easier on myself to be able to feed these things, the girls. So that's the plan. In the pump, it'll shut off, so once it's on, it'll kick off when it reaches the right pressure, and it's on demand. So when I pull the nozzle, the trigger on this, the pump will kick on, and so it forces the liquid into the feeders. Once I let off, then the pump will stop as it builds up the pressure to shut it down, so it's not having to run all the time. But anyway, this is my poor man's version of a beekeeping feeder. So this is actually the first time I've used it, so we'll see how it goes. Okay. All right, it's like really hot out. I think it's supposed to be 105 today, and it's almost 2 o'clock.
I think it is 2 o'clock. Anyway, it is stinking hot, so I'm going to get this done and get out of here. Anyway, I'm going to hook it up. You can hear the pump. Okay, see it shut off, so it's up to pressure. And now I'm going to just take the hose, drag it over. Ugh. Man, it is hot. Check and see. So I don't know if you can see internal feeder. Just like that. Easy peasy. It's hard to do this one-handed. There. Get the lid back on. Got some crazy bees down here. I took a piece of comb out that had some honey in it and dropped it down here, so they're cleaning it out too. But anyway, move on to the next one. And this is like so much nicer. Instead of having to lug barrels around or buckets and all that stuff. When it's this hot, it really makes it nice. Like I said, this is the first time I've used this, and I gotta say, I'm liking it. Alright, girls, out of the way. Try to do this without getting them too ticked off. I have one hive out here that it's actually one of the little ones underneath the trees over there. Good grief, that thing's mean. I couldn't even do the inspection on it this morning because they lit me up. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that one. They were not very nice. They were on me before I even tried to pull a frame out. Got one sting through my jeans. I had several stingers in my jeans that didn't go all the way to my skin. I had a couple, I think in my arm, hand, I don't remember. All I know is they weren't playing very nice. Man, I gotta tell you, this is awesome. Like so much nicer. Especially when it's this hot. This is not fun. And just like that, that's 1 gallon in the feeder. Get the lid back on straight. I need to get a brick for that one to let me know that it's queen right. This hive here I just transferred into this box today from a nuke hive, which was over there. It's got a new queen in it. And yeah, so there's the truck over there, and I'm probably 25 feet away. and being able to feed away. This is awesome. Don't mean to sound like a broken record, but man, until you've done it, you'd understand. It's just sucky to have to haul buckets of feed around, and then you slop it around and get half of it spilled all over the place, and bees are getting all ghetto. I gotta get a feeder on this one. Yeah, bees get all nasty and ticked off, or stinging the crud out of you. This one I gotta crack open. Try to keep the feeders on the outside like that. So I just gotta move the top box out of the way. And away she goes. Oh. So each one of these feeders holds a gallon. And I have some that hold 2 gallons also. But I like the 1 gallon ones just for the fact that, because I have to take a frame out of the box to make space for it, and the bigger ones I have to take 2 frames out, so I would really rather not have to do that. So I prefer the 1 gallon ones. Yeah. I hope this is coming out, because it's so bright out here I can't even see. Can't see what the screen is showing. Oh boy. This is nasty hot. This is so much faster. Ugh. Okay, that's those. I have 4 more over here. I think these have feeders in them. So now, see, I'm clear over here. The truck's way over there, and I'm still able to reach. This one doesn't have a feeder in it, so I'm gonna have to come back. Ugh. I think the only feeders I have left are the 2 gallon versions, but I'll go ahead and use them because I don't want to have to go buy any others right now. Let me see. Chihuahua. Like I said, I hope I'm actually getting this in frame, because I'm kind of just pointing and hoping for the best. On most of these feeders, I'll usually I'll put some like dry grass or something in them, twigs and things, to give the bees something to stand on, because a lot of times they'll drown in this stuff. Oopsie, I didn't get the lid all the way on for this one. So it's always disappointing to come in and realize that hundreds of bees have drowned. So having some grass or twigs or sticks or something in there to give them a footing really does make a big difference. A lot less die off that way. Oy. I don't think I mentioned, so these little pallets that these are on, I built these things. Found some videos on YouTube of people that have done. I wanted to do 2 box pallets. So instead of like the commercial guys, the big guys, they'll have four hives per pallet. Well, to do that, you have to have a forklift or some way to be able to move them. So I wanted to keep them smaller, so I built half pallets, which accommodate 2 hives, and I can move them by hand. I bought I found a guy in Canada that builds hive lifters, and he's got a couple different versions. Anyway, I wanted to be able to move these things. So it comes with a fork attachment. So the forks will go up underneath the pallet. I can just tilt it back and move it. It's not a powered lift, meaning it doesn't move on its own. So I mean, that's not a big deal because it rolls really easy. And I can, the nice thing though is it is powered in the sense that the forks will raise, so I can stack one pallet on top of another pallet, and it, to make it so I can transport them more easily. So, and the way the pallets are made is that they'll stack on top, and the rails on the bottom of the pallet will lock into the lid on the top of the pallet boxes, I guess you would want to say, so that they won't slide around. So anyway, it's pretty slick. I really like it, and it was a reasonable. It's still a lot of money, but it was much more reasonable than having to go out and buy a forklift or something to that degree. So anyway, I thought I'd bring you along for my maiden voyage with my handy dandy feeder system. I have to say, it actually works really well. It makes me very happy. It saves me a lot of work. So anyway, I don't know how much is left in the barrel, but I probably took 12 gallons, 14 gallons out, something like that. So anyway, that's it for now. Hope you found that enjoyable. If not, give me a thumbs down. All right, I'll see you later. So this is what happens when you put a frame with honey on it out in the open. Yeah, it doesn't take them long to clean it out. So they're robbing it out, and they've already uncapped it all. I think it's just about empty already. It's only been out here for maybe 15-20 minutes. Doesn't take them long.